have seen in art how classicism was being reborn with the focus on the individual, and how it was eclipsing and changing representations of Christian themes. So today we need to look at what motivated artistic tastes and artistic innovations. And that motivation can largely be attributed to what we call Renaissance humanism. Renaissance humanism was just the belief that humanist learning would ennoble and perfect the individual, and that humanist learning would serve as a powerful instrument of social and religious reform. These humanists didn't typically deny God, but that they did believe strongly that human intellectual effort would advance civilization. Renaissance humanism embarked on a true celebration of the self and human potential versus self-effacement and self-debasement. There were many important Renaissance humanist thinkers. Pico della Mirandola, Niccolo Machiavelli, and Desiderius Erasmus were three of the most important. Mirandola is perhaps best known for his oration on the dignity of man. Not surprisingly, Mirandola was very good friends with Lorenzo Medici. Mirandola claimed that he had read every book in Florence, and he believed that if all learning was mastered and synthesized, that it would lead to truth. So he set out to master all existing systems of knowledge. At the end of that study, he wrote 900 theses that he claimed summed up all existing learning. He really is considered the first important Renaissance humanist writer. He indeed believed that humanity is a miracle, and that humanity is the bridge between God and the rest of creation. Desiderius Erasmus was interesting in that he was a self-proclaimed Christian humanist, and he tried to make humanism fit into Christian paradigms. So much like what we've seen in the art, where you have artists taking biblical themes and infusing them with real people feeling real things, Erasmus was trying to reconcile his Christianity with humanist thought. He was a monk and a priest, but he was very critical of the church and its shortcomings. He felt like that the church needed a renewal. And finally, Niccolo Machiavelli is perhaps the most well-known Renaissance humanist today. Machiavelli indeed held a job as a governmental diplomat, but was exiled from Florence in 1512 by the Medicis. While he was in exile, he wrote his most famous work called The Prince. It was published after he died. The Prince is basically a political treatise. It was inspired by the ancient republican government of Rome, and it's considered to be the first purely secular study of political theory. In The Prince, Machiavelli is basically concerned with the practical use of power for state management. Or in other words, he was very concerned with how a person, in this case his prince, gets power and keeps power. He is a realistic pragmatist and believed that whatever is necessary to maintain power is right. In other words, he strongly believed that the ends always justified the means. So what you're going to be doing next is reading a little bit of The Prince, analyzing it, answering some questions about it, and deciding what you think about Machiavelli.